Crypto market is interesting, isn't it? With a positive news, HBAR just popped today. For those who are looking at XRP, the question would be like, okay, we used to get a lot of good news. At least in the last 2-3 years, we have had many. But the price didn't actually go through the roof. Yes, last year, we got this kind of a pump with the court news, where they cleared XRP, and we know what happened afterwards. But right now, if you do look at these assets and the market, you are looking at something positive. Bitcoin on the daily gives you a clear view that last 24-hour candle which closed just like we talked about each and every day till this point, and we are watching that's playing out. We are following it day by day with the macro perspective as well. Here we are. Yesterday's volume was like 60% compared to this one, but the price is not. So bears are still weak. I would like to see this correcting back a little bit down and then going back up. However, still the price is controlled by the bulls. So whether that's on a daily candle, whether that's on a 3-day candle, which we just got the candle close, this is good. You have like 60% of the buying volume. You kind of have around 50-60% of the buying pressure here. So that's fine. Now we jump on to the weekly. Remember, this was really bullish. You only have around 20% of the buying volume, and it's only been like 2 days. And for this weekly candle, and you're watching a bullish engulfing candle formation starting to play out. Can this push all the way up to $71,000 by the end of this week? Because the macro, the last 1 year narrative looks really interesting. Welcome to the Scientific Investor family, where the normal retail guys get to learn how to become the next top 10% of this world. Yes, HBAR popped with the news and it's up 88%. But the prior things should be kept in mind. We were looking at this and saying like this is like a 2-year trend line support. And I think I mentioned it like that. Yeah, a 2-year support zone, and you got the perfect news at the perfect time. That's why the bounce was huge. It went through these resistance, and that's something to keep in mind. The price actually popped like this, and the live price of the asset is right now 0.16. That's still above these local resistance, which kind of gives you a lot of strength. Now, the thought process should be taken not only in the price action just like this with the news, it also should be based on what you can see in the volume side. Weekly volume looks absolutely gorgeous in this asset. Look at this. I mean, the buying volume on the weekly, it's only been 2 days for the week. It's already at this level. It's erasing almost all of these weekly candles. It's going through the sky. Now we're going back to the bullish season to see this amount of volume. So you're starting to see something, and the price action reflecting that volume and that direction. That's huge. That's positive in itself. Yes, there's a lot of small cap, medium caps doing wonders, slowly compounding the gains. But if you are someone who's looking for the fundamental assets, then you're most likely looking at what we are discussing, right? Remember, we had the thought process shared for AKT as well. It's up 30% for the day. It doesn't actually have a lot of news, but this was happening. Jan, we actually shared the thought process like, guys, watch this. This is something to keep in mind. This is a bullish engulfing candle. You are still at this resistance. You may go to 5.88 towards this range. Now, if you look at the price now, you're at 5.38. We followed that up. I mean, in the scientific investor family, you guys get this. Just 10 days back, we talked about this, saying, I'm looking for something like this. Maybe I'm wrong, but I'm looking for this. And right now, we see that the price bounced off from there. It did bounce, and it is coming close to that $6 mark. So now is the time for you to look for what we discussed there with a few assets, the volume, the divergence, the pattern, the trend, everything should be kept in mind because that's where you get to see really good moves in the market. So if you are looking for these kind of information at the right time, at that bottom to buy before it bounces off, SI family is where you should be, where we post a lot of these assets on a regular basis so you don't miss out. Now, let's actually dive into the price action because it does look interesting. Whether I like it or not, it looks interesting. There's some deviation which the price action is showing from what I thought is going to happen. Now, before we jump into that and break those down, if you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do consider doing that. Now, let's look at this. This is Bitcoin. The formation, you can either say it's going to be a flat accumulation like this, or it's trying to form a bull flag. In both ways, if you do look at the recent price action, with the consistent drop here, that erases a lot of levered longs. So it is literally giving the price action a little bit more leg, room in the sense to push higher. Now the question is, does the actual market, the entire crypto market kind of agree on that perspective? So here we are, you come on, look at the Ether on a daily. You look at the previous candle here, which closed on 22nd. Great. The volume to buying agrees. The next one, however, does not, which means the most recent daily close which we got kind of shows like sellers are still there. They haven't moved out. And it makes sense. You had this level of resistance, you're respecting that as of now. If you break through that to reach here, it's going to be a retest range. And if you break that, boom. That's what we're looking for, the short term. But the micro, however, can be a little bit volatile because what happened last day. Now, you move on to the 3-day, it's looking bullish. You literally move on to the weekly, it's looking absolutely bullish, right? So on next 10 days horizon, 15 days horizon, this looks great. If you want to actually get an idea of whether that's just the Ether or the entire market on the altcoin side, you first look at the dominance. Dominance is showing you had some decent volume to the downside. It did pull through. It came below all these supports. That's still at that range for sure. So if you manage to see a breakthrough to the downside, that is interesting. Remember, we talked about this from all this way. The trend line broke to the downside. We want to see a break here. If it does that, it's going to be a great season for the altcoin market. Now, that's where I'm coming to. How long are we going to look for? The altcoin market kind of shows you that this particular candle, this range, is now invalidated. You moved above that. The next level of resistance is up here. You're coming close to that. However, all of this is a short to micro view on the market. Now you look at the price action. You had almost all the good amount of selling volume here compared to previous one, but they failed. So the last 24 hours candle close shows you an inside candle like this. Even though it had a long wick to the upside, buyers dominated or sellers failed. That's why the next day you got the move to the upside. Fine. You move back on a 3-day chart and you're like, okay, we got like 60 to 70% of the buying volume, but you didn't get 60 to 70% of the buying pressure to the upside. So that means on total market on the altcoin side, it's saying Bitcoin can run up and still attract more cash flow. That is what this chart is showing on a 3-day. So you now go on a weekly to see, okay, how long can that be? You had a lot of selling volume that pushed the price down. You had almost similar buying volume which failed to push the price back up to this range. Now, this weekly close is going to be super important to compare with the same idea. Obviously, when HBAR is moving on a payments arena, people would be looking at XRP and asking, whoa, payments is doing something. Guys, wake up, right? For the XRP, for the XLM, that would be the thought process. Agreed. We are all looking at that. In XLM terms, it is trying to pull this one here. A micro breakout from this particular pattern. It would be good to see that breaking to the upside, the market as a whole turning bullish. Because end of the day, dollar is slowing down here, which is actually a good thing. We discussed about this too in the last few videos and through last few months. This getting rejected here would be a great signal for us. What do I mean? Your trend is like this. Sure, you got a ABC, which is a corrective signal. So it came back to this level. So if it follows the next leg like this, the impulsive move to the downside, that's going to be a really good area to be in the crypto market. When the dollar is slowing down, you're watching that even the stock market, which everyone is screaming that we are going down to the hell, is slowly bouncing back up. Now, this is where you should be looking at all the price action and making that in your mind basic understanding, right? You are trying to put that basic understanding of the market into your mindset. Yes, the news, the narrative, everything matters. There's like 8 billion, around 74K. So yes, they do have incentive to push the price to 74, 75 range to liquidate all of them. And maybe that's one of the reasons why you're looking at this. However, when you actually zoom out, you go onto a monthly chart. Monthly. Next 1 week is so important in Bitcoin that if the price action is showing you that monthly is closing like this, whatever I've talked through for last 1-2 years, that is valid. That shows selling pressure. That shows buyers tried pushing it back down and pushing it back up. Then there was a massive fight. But at the end of the day, if you do see a hanging man, that shows selling pressure. Just like this doji, which had the long wick to the upside, showed a lot of buying pressure. Here you're watching selling pressure to the downside. So we don't really want this monthly candle closing in red. If it ends up like this on the bullish side, fine. This drop is going to be smaller and you would go back up. So that is going to be important on a monthly, and that's just like next 7 days. That's one of the reasons why I say next 1 week is going to be really important in the crypto market. So now take that same thought process into XRP, look through this. If Bitcoin comes back down in that next 7 days, look for XRP coming back down to this range as well. Now for HBAR itself, when you actually take HBAR on the market cap side and you go back on the monthly, what can you really see? The price is still going up. Massive volume came in. It is pushing the price through to the all-time highs range. That's the market cap, right? Now we go on the price action side. You want to see where the hell we are. And it kind of gives you the idea that you're going back into the overbought territory on the weekly, and on the monthly, you're entering that horizon. That's why I told you, this is that sweet spot where the news came in at the right time. 2-year trend line support. That was what we were talking in this life family, and right now we're watching that bursting through. Now, remember, historically speaking, when these assets actually get this amount of buying volume compared to the history, yeah, don't be surprised if they are highly volatile and they go up like crazy. If you try to follow green candles, it may not look great. And that's one of the reasons why I usually say SF family is the most educated crypto family. They get the right information at the right time. We do ask for TA session almost every month, at least 1 or 2 times, so that you know where these assets are on the micro, on the macro. Here on the macro horizon, it did show you are at that support. The strength should bounce back. Historically speaking, you get a bounce, and that bounce this time with the news just got boom. It went through all these resistance. Now, for sure, if you're someone who loves the Elliott wave, you're looking at that. If you're someone who loves the Wyckoff principle, you're looking at that. In all of these categories, you would put the argument, you had the accumulation, you broke higher, retested, started bouncing. Now, what do you see here as a common pattern? How many of you actually remember this price structure which we've been discussing through last 1 month, trying to post as much assets as possible, which was forming this pattern? Because historically, we just noticed over last 30 days of education through the market that this one pattern gave you something in the market. The results were similar in most of those assets, even though they were from different segments. Payments, smart contracts, gaming, all of them. Those who popped had this. I'm like, whoa, 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 that looks good. So if your exposure to payments is just XRP, we are not XRP maxis. We like XRP, we hold a lot of XRP, but keep this in mind. Competition for this market is now big. You have XLM, you have XDC, you have HBAR, you have Quant. I mean, you have a lot of payment assets to the small cap. It would be XCC, YRX token. There's a lot of them. So if you're just in XRP and you're watching these other payment tokens slowly grinding back up, trying to break through these resistance, you now have psychological issue, emotional issue, right? And that's why I say position yourself when the price reaches a territory which is a historical support. Use it. Whenever there is a divergence, use it. This is XDC, another payment asset. Price going down, but the RSI is not. That's a bullish divergence. You can use it. If you do have a bit of patience, this is what you're looking. A bull flag and a break to the upside like this will look really great. So that's all payments, right? So XLM showing you this on a 3-day chart, on a daily chart, same pattern. XDC showing you that, great. HBAR just went to the upside, perfect. So you're watching a lot of different coins in one segment starting to show some bullish momentum. Yes, you need to get a breakout. Yes, you need to finalize and confirm that in the price. But while the entire market is about to pump back up, why would you doubt the market? The market has shown a lot of these volatilities before, and we have seen that in the last cycles as well. Say, for example, just put in a perspective, which is easier. Last time, when the price was like 120% above, the moving average, it actually got that level of correction. Right now, it was around 120. Whoa, that's crazy. That's almost close. Almost. So if that's the history which is repeating here, it's not going to be like 2-3 months. It's going to be 4-5 months to the upside here in a lot of altcoins. Now, few has a history of popping 70 to 90 days. So the moment it starts running up, you're not looking for a huge run up through years. You go back in HBAR if that's what you're looking at, and you want to make sure that you have the understanding of that asset. Say you go back, the number of days it took for each of its run. It's important. That's the supply mechanism. So you're looking at this and saying, that was a 28 days period where it went up. You're looking at this and saying, whoa, that was a 60 days horizon where it ramped up. So if that's what's starting, it's going to be either 28 days of pump or a 60 days. In both cases, you will see the market giving you signals, right? You'll actually see the market giving you this. Say here, when the price actually did this double bottom or like this, RSI went down. That was a hidden bullish divergence. Then you went up and broke that. You got the confirmation. So in both cases, remember the time taken is like this in this industry at least. That's something wise to use it for yourself, especially if it's that 28 days mark or 60 days mark. If you're already riding this asset and you're getting in the pop, you're at the bottom, you're up 50, 60, 70, 80%, perfect. This is that time where you should be holding on to it for at least 28 days, if not 50 to 60 days. And during that time, what happened? There's a huge question. HBAR did all this rally from the bottom here to the top here, which is like a 40x. And that was the first week of the March 2021. Now let's look at XRP. At that top, when HBAR did 40x, where the hell was XRP? It was here. So yes, this asset kind of test your patience, the emotions. It kind of, make you the drums, duck, 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 duck. But this is the history. If you're on the side of the history, you are learning from the market, then it shows you, yeah, we had massive volatility. We didn't do much last time too. At that time, we were still here. Then we went on for the next leg without all the exchanges liquidity, which kind of, the gravity pulled us down. The upside was limited. Agreed. But if the history is correct, then that means from that range, it was limited. The time taken was limited. Now, will it be the exact same this time? I'm not sure. Is there any bullish things which you see in the market? Perfect. This is what you're watching. The price went down, but the RSI did not. Bullish divergence. We have seen this over and over and over again in this asset when it resulted in a rally, whether it was inside the bear market or at the bottom of the bear market. We've seen this multiple times. If that's what we're watching, yeah, we're going to follow HBAR with around 20 to 30 days delay. That's going to test your mind and everyone else's patience if you're not well educated. That's why I see SI family is going to be the best spot where you get most of the information at the right time for the right assets. So again, if you want to follow in 1,000+ members, use the link in the description to reach me. So guys, if you haven't smashed that like button yet, and you're still here watching this video, do that please. I appreciate that a lot. I'll meet you guys in the next video. Bye for now.